let's just start flat-footed and say, please help me create a new product. So I got a little off track here and hypothesized about one set of dimensions and way to look at product backlog development. Now, if my point were to do a really good job of the content, like I think that's a different course, or we'll get to that along our journey. In this case, I don't want to get caught up in philosophy. This is not representative of the full pressure that should be brought to the language within product backlogs, but I'm going to just keep rolling and let's get back to it. So let's move it. Let's actually move all this now into a project. Actually, there's a button here, add to project, but I don't know if we can make a new one. So let's do a new project. Let's say backlog. And I happen to believe if I go right back and add to project, whoops. Huh. Well, it's all right. We're going to go into the instructions and we're just going to paste all of that anyway. Now we have pinned behind the scene a little bit, kind of hey, whisper in every time I'm talking to you in this particular project. You now have this base understanding of how we like to build product backlogs. Please help us start a nice product backlog for the following 6-week flow. And let's also add this to the instructions. Maybe breaking those into 2 separate files, which we could add a little bit more contextual meaning to the name of those files. And, I think that would probably be wise if we were going to keep doing such things. So leave it there for now. Starting as probably about 6 weeks. And we can have a copy here. All right. This is headed in the direction we were looking. We have initiatives, epics, features, and stories. We had provided enough detail before that this seems all pretty right down the middle. Happy to have help in creating places to start. All right, here we go. Please use area paths. All right. Okay. Here is the final Excel format I need. Let us move to Excel. And let's spin up some simple tech. All right, dove into an organization we already have, create a new project. We've already crafted our risk agile framework work item process flow that includes initiatives at the top, as well as 2 other project card types I'll show you here in a minute. I'm going to come over here to Backlog. We're going to flip. All right, so our board is not set up. It's a brand new project. That's fine. Let's jump over here to project. Add initiatives and epics. The rest of this I'm fine with. Areas we're going to come back here and add some, but for now we're going to turn on all the sub areas. All right, I think now we can begin. Not a big deal. Now, what level are you trying to look at the world from? What perspective? We're going to pop up to initiatives, create a new one, and I am just going to create one little example of each. So there you go. Just like that, we have created an initiative, epic, feature, PBI, or user story, and task, all decomposed. Like their parent-child relationship is innate to this experience. Just to keep our example really clean and to make it a little bit clearer in our minds, I'm going to add a few more things here. And, now we can see that what it looks like when there are multiple items at given levels and these kinds of things. Not necessary for our next step, but it'll make it a little bit easier to look at here in a second. And we like easier to look at. And I'm just hitting Control Enter, that's save and close hotkeys. It was really nice experience in my mind. Now, maybe initiatives, epics, features, different groups are going to focus, talk to each other, prioritize together, increase the knowledge of, they own this. And if they were to do some relative sizing, it's at this level, right? The initiatives list unto the initiatives list, right? The epics unto the epics, the features unto the feature. Stories can only be compared to stories. And I don't know. I just think it's great. Everybody can have their entry point. If what we're all trying to do right now is look at, talk about, sort, arm wrestle, have fun, learn more, do some more pinning of conversations had and decisions made and questions left open, take ownership of all this. You get everything you need out of the box, and then it's really easy to grow it and change it from there. Cool. Magic trick. We're going to go to queries. We're going to create a new query. We would like this to be work items and direct links. That's what we're looking for. All right, great. This is exactly what I wanted. That parent-child relationship, that decomposition of ideas and language, give us this parent-child tree. So we're going to save this. We're going to say all items. Cool. Now we're going to come over here to Excel. It's not enabled today, so after you install the standalone Office 365 Azure DevOps add-in, it may play hide and seek with you. You're going to go to your options. You're going to go to your add-ins. You're going to go to your COM add-ins. You're going to enable Azure DevOps add-in. And working, you'll know you've arrived finally when you have this Teams tab in Excel. So in Team, I'm going to click New List on an empty Excel up here in the corner. I've already logged in once, but if you hadn't, just go to Servers and add the devazure.com in your org name. I'm going to go into this 6-week bootcamp project, find that query we just created, and ta-da! We almost, a few more things, but almost we're at a place where we can now work back and forth enormous Azure DevOps Team Foundation Server, whatever we're supposed to call it these days, Azure Boards. Um, you could have thousands of teams working across hundreds or thousands of projects, and all of it at the end of the day cooks down to one big, beautiful Excel spreadsheet in the back end. Ah, it's very, very adorable. But don't tell everybody this. You don't want some people doing this because, well, I'm about to show you why. We're going to go back to the query we created. We're going to go to column options, and we're going to balance these two real quick. And once you set most of this up, it's set up, right? You don't have to keep doing that. We're going to balance these two by, boom, 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 go back to team, put my cursor anywhere inside of this deal, and these will enable choose columns. And I know today we want to work with a couple of work item types. We're going to go from the top at initiatives, and we're going to click add required, right? And we're going to go epic, add required. The next two aren't going to change, but maybe one day they would. So let's just go through the habit after Epic in feature, not going to add anything. Product backlog item, not going to add anything. Task might add one or two. No, no. And that's it. Those are the work item types we're looking to deal with. So while this list is up, I'm going to go over here and clean up the actual query so we don't have to do this in the future. This ends with tags. So area path created by iteration, reason, priority. Value area. Okay. I'm going to grab just a few more because I like them. Let's see. We have business value. Was rank. Um, so there was a couple of priorities. So I want to have backlog priority, and we'll follow that around and see where that maps. Effort. There it is. All right. So now I feel pretty happy with the query itself. I can come back over here, and if I refresh, I could have canceled that or whatever, but if I just go ahead and refresh the data, then it does the same. Now we have everything. Now, if we didn't do this and we started creating new items, we would be missing some required fields, and then it would get all stressed out, and we'd kind of end up doing this dance, and you get it figured out eventually. But there you go. That's what it takes. We can rearrange these, and we will here a little bit. But for now, let's just keep moving forward. We're going to take this back to where we were. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Suppose we'll at least glance at one of these now that she's got a little further. And this is the correct format. So where we have repeated items, the uh, lineage is denoted, by emptiness within those title cells, and then one record representing that epic, its child immediately following. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Not mad at it. All right, and maybe this was meeting notes, or maybe this was, we had a backlog and we're incorporating some moment or thoughts. And so I'm going to tidy it up here real quick in a way that we'll be able to review where we're at. All right, the area path is still has these weeks marker in it, week markers in it. I don't like that. We're gonna clean that up. I'm fine with the rest. I do happen to know, okay, tasks are flagged as to do. Um, Good job. I had seen that missed in the past, and so always trying to include a few more examples of tasks in that initial example set we fed her, and that gets us a good result. You don't want to, I wouldn't clean up something like that in here. If these all said new, I know when I go to publish this, these need to be to do. That's going to throw an error. I don't want to clean that up here. I want to go back to her and let her regenerate it so that for the moment, until the last responsible moment, I'm going to have her own sort of the source of truth responsibility for this document. And so far, really, that's it. I want to clean up the weak markers that are showing up. This looks great. Thank you. Please do one last cleanup. All right, that's enough about that. Cool. So what I'm going to do here is copy everything but the ID. Whee. Then we're going to go back to our book 2 here. I'm going to put the mouse right there and paste. And just like that, we have added all these items. I've also preserved these, at least for a little while, and I'll show you why here in a minute. But if I were to hit publish, oh, yay, we found problems. Let's see. This makes sense. The platform does not know our area paths, so we're going to need to go make area paths real quick to match these. There might be another way to do this, but I'm not mad at it. We'll just get her done. So we have our root node is what that'll ultimately look like. And scoot these over here. Yeah, I get this feeling we're going to be playing with this. Plugin security. All right, that feels closer. All right. Let's see, vibe coding copilot. When in doubt, let's refresh. And if we have, all right, we have no successful imports already took place. If they did, we just come back over here, go to all work items, and from all work items, we could delete all of these and then go again, or delete the new ones and leave our skeleton here. All right, but we would like, what I'd like to do, we'll do this. Now when we refresh, we can see what a good example looks like. So it does seem boot camp off is a real thing. So maybe the refresh is what was needed. Let's grab another copy. There it is. Back here. Boot camp. That looks better. Let us publish. Yeah, that's what we were looking for. Cool. Now, if we come back over here, We could start at the initiatives, and we're going to see our program, as we just imported from Excel, is already all here and happy and built out, for lack of trying. And we're in a good place to pick up the ball and kind of move forward. Or if we have large sweeping changes we want to make, we can take those back out to Excel, take them to AI, have those changes updated, and bring them back in with confidence. We can do that in small pieces or big pieces. It'll really be on the queries that you create to describe how that is going to take place. We've got tagging and I want to do better with our areas. Let's see, they're not showing on this board. Let's add a few things here. Um, our area paths. And as we drill in the richness of all this, and we haven't even begun to write the user stories, and we can absolutely get her help with that. And the tasking itself, let's see how we're doing on language. Um, Not great. Add semantic kernel feels very much like solution language. Function calling foundations. Now, this is a highly technical thing we're doing, and it's not even really a build, so I'm going to forgive some of that. Certainly, as you're playing along and working with yours, really double down on that idea of what the language types and barriers and applications are as you build and invent new things and continue to talk about the parts of each thing you build that are the same from build to build, the language we develop internally as a team and as a company. That is a major part of our advantage. Or disadvantage, as the case may be, and using your product backlogs, quickly and cleanly and clearly, and picking a tool where it's really easy to be wrong and change your mind, and oh my gosh, that belongs here, and okay, great, now it's here, and oh my gosh, like. Yeah, it's so lovely. I mentioned earlier that this version I had tweaked the base process model a little bit, and so we'll see, we could come into these product backlog item. Let's do it as a board. We can always flip around and look. You can always flip around and look at the world from a board perspective. Move over to your team, look at just your team's backlog, look at your sprint, and dealing with your sprint and its decon. It's so lovely. What a lovely thing. So if I come over here, and I'm looking at the tasks. Create another task. Like, I love this tool so much. But now maybe I want to create something else. Maybe I want to add a vibe coding prep card. Or I think I need to be in a task. A coding session stub. And so what I'm working on is how to begin to bring some of the language from the business side and the team, the delivery team working in a English focused, product backloggy kind of moment. How do we start to speak into and pre-prompt a little bit of what that coding assistant experience is going to be and go like, how do we do that in a way that we can push and ebb and flow and mature these in some wider way. And then the coding session stubs, how do we help rightly capture moments of the implementation where the AI is doing coding assistant or some full automation, how that session went, the details of that session, again, that we may get wiser and become better informed as we see and push and pull and create this new tension where our focus is on the alchemy of our English language and finding the right balance and moments that then touches and interacts with the AI and automation, and then back and forth as we all get better at this. So, hope there's something in there for you. We're going to keep moving. Next, I'm gonna have to go figure out where I drugged and dropped that example when I was being a little excited and put this thing back together. And we're gonna pick right back up and actually step through some of the implementation things we've been talking about and getting into building our first UI and stepping into building our first MCP server, exploring semantic kernel, walking sort of through the growth model over the last couple of years with semantic kernel through local tool calling and installing and running locally with Olama and mounting different models such as Llama. And we'll probably explore some of you for sure in your final projects might explore cooking some LoRa's or exposing some rags or doing some really clever things within your MCP server gateway experience. Very excited. See you in a little bit. Cheers.